What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? And welcome to my Monday Night Raw review tonight, live from Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles. And what a show tonight! There was some good things and there was some bad things. Do I think this was a good show? Yes, good to decent. I will stand on my word on that. I think it was a pretty much good to decent show. There were a lot of strong parts of the show, especially hyping up to Great Balls of Fire, which they are trying their best to, get that name over. But as we kicked off the show, Roman Reigns came out, and people booed at him, of course. People chanted, "We want Strowman." And Roman says, if you get, hey, just give you a minute, you'll like what I have to say. I don't know if Reigns is trying to be a heel still, even though they keep booking him as a face. And when they cut to the crowd, they show all these Roman signs like he's a face. And he accepted the ambulance match. Braun Strowman said he's going to take him to hell. But when the ambulance came out there, Roman went to see who it was. And well, yeah, he said he's going to take him out because it's his yard, of course. He went to check it after the sirens went off, but then Braun Strowman attacked him. He threw him onto the stage, and he started punching Reigns. Reigns started with a Superman punch, which Strowman grabbed him and threw him into the ambulance. At the ambulance as he bounced off of it, and then threw him into the ambulance as the ambulance drove off, and he pretty much lifted his arms before they're, leaving off then. So it was actually a really good start to the show. I don't know why they had to kick it off with Roman. I don't know why, but Strowman is pretty much booked almost like a face out here most of the time, especially if he's going against Roman, which he's booed all the time as a heel, but he's a face though still. But they really are doing their best to hype this matchup, and it really was good to kick off the show. Next was a six-man tag with Sheamus, Cesaro, and Elias Sansa in the ring trying to do some type of music number, going against the Hardys and Finn Balor. There was a lot of delete chants out there, and they had Josh Duhamel out there on commentary, mostly talk about his show and maybe a little of the Hardys. I don't really know why he was out there, but well, yeah, I just said he was there to promote his show, so that's why. But as he was promoting his show out there, people chant delete during Hardys when they were out there. It was a really good tag team match to keep the show going, and Balor was able to end it off with a coup de grace on Sheamus, even though he was there for a long time before he hit it. He hit the coup de grace and won the match. Pretty much a really good six-man tag. Next was a Goldust video promo, the Golden Age, as this is Hollywood, the truth will hit it. And, it's showtime, Beetlejuice 1982 or 19, whatever year it was, 92. And he says, it's going to be the grand finale tonight. He says, it's to shine like gold. He's going to put the finishing touches on his masterpiece. And as he came out, he had that old school Goldust look with a cameraman out there that was dressed in gold. R-Truth headed to the ring and was going to get him, but Goldust was behind his cameraman. And he pretty much started attacking Truth, and he beat him up. And since the match never started, he just beat up Truth and hit him on the turnbuckle, which I didn't really think it'd be over right there. It just kind of ended off of just, I thought it'd be a legit match, but it wasn't. Next thing you know, Paul Heyman was talking about how Brock Lesnar was going to be here and take out Joe. And when he was talking, Joe showed up behind him, put him in the coquina clutch, just holding him, showing how a sociopath he could be. Just he toyed with Heyman, and he says, "Shh, listen, that's what I'm going to do with Brock," he says. And he says, "I'm just an advocate. I know you're an advocate, Paul." And he says, this is going to be me. This is going to be for Lesnar, so you tell him to watch out, as he said. They played something for, I'm not even going to mention the Stephanie McMahon thing, because I know a lot of people didn't like it anyway, so we'll just skip that part. Next, and first off, and there's going to be a 6-woman gauntlet match, which we'll get to that later in the show, because I didn't think this was going to be the last part of the show. That's one thing I didn't think that was going to happen. Hmm. just had to do something real quick. But yeah, this is the thing I didn't see coming. Other than I will get to the women thing later on, was the LeVar Ball segment, and I'm sure a lot of people had a lot to say about this. Probably one of the most cringiest things you will ever see. First off, I didn't even know LeVar Ball was gonna be on the show. Okay, him and his sons, and I found this out probably an hour before Raw, in this whole segment. And I know Twitter blew up on this. I don't even know if all NBA fans like this and that. First off, okay, it's Los Angeles, alright? His son is part of the Lakers. We know that in the draft, the NBA draft. And Miz brought them out. LeVar Ball just rolling around and, I don't know, coming to the rings. Like, what is he doing? He literally went to the ring and rolled in there like it was nothing. Talked to Miz, and he talked about LaMelo scoring 92 points his high school game, and LeVar Ball was just hyping up his big baller t-shirts and everything. They had like displays and stuff, and people booed them anyways. They booed all three of them really when they were out there, because yes, he is part of the Lakers, but I don't even think Los Angeles fans. First of all, we're in front of a wrestling crowd here, not a basketball crowd, so maybe two different things. And I know it's LA, but yeah. And as Miz said, we're having a partnership with him and LeVar Ball. LeVar pretty much cut him off, says, you're a little too low, he says. And he says, how many... And he says, there's only two dudes that are better, and I'm one of them, he says. Because he said Michael Jordan could be. He said, how many times have you guys won championships? I won 2. I won 3. And he said, well, I thought UCLA lost. And as Miz just kept talking about LeVar Ball, he says, this means misinterpretation. You got Miz too many zippers and something like that. I don't know what he was talking about there half the time, and he was just was like something like that. And I'm looking at it and say, it's like, I am a champion. He says, and then Miz says, let all the balls out. He says, like, what is this shit? I'm looking at this whole segment like, what is going on? And then he took off his shirt, and his Dean Ambrose came out, LaMelo, and I'm sure everybody said this on the internet, and I personally thought this was funny. When his son was just saying, LaMelo, he says, beat that nigga ass, beat that nigga's ass. I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. It was cringe, but it was hilarious, though. And at that part, for some reason, this whole segment was all over the place. This whole segment made Dean Ambrose look normal. Okay, like, who's the real lunatic fringe here? And I'll give LeVar Ball one thing, though. He had more charisma than half of the roster out there tonight and everything. And yes, I'll give him something. Yes, he's marketable. All right, he found a way how to market this, and even being on WWE, I'm sure ESPN is gonna eat this up tomorrow. Okay, they will eat it up tomorrow. But this segment was one of the most cringiest things ever. I thought there was maybe 1 or 2 funny parts in it, and then you see LeVar just still running around the ring, going off the ropes. As Ambrose is just talking. It says, ain't nobody got bigger balls than Dean Ambrose, and I like free T-shirts, and they played his music. Pretty much says it's gonna be a 6-man tag. So I don't know if WWE got tired of this segment, wherever this was going. Like I said, for one thing, it's LA. They were trying to promote his son being the Lakers. And B, since their last name is Ball, they tried to do as many balls jokes as they could for that great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. So that's one of the reasons why. And I'm sure a lot of people may even turn the channel after that cringeworthy segment. But even LeVar telling LaMelo he said handle my lightweight against Miz, and he got up, and he got up, he walked by Miz, and then he sat back down. So, him, Lonzo, it was all over the place. But when he said beat that nigga ass like 2 times, I'm surprised nobody even censored that on TV. But they got away with that shit. So, I don't know. You can take out that segment if you want, but I thought it was mostly cringe and maybe a little funny at one point. But I'm going to move on from this whole LeVar Ball segment, which pretty much then was a 6-man tag with Ambrose, Slater, and Rhino versus the Mr. Raj and Miz, and I don't know, both Dallas got the roll up on them. There wasn't really much to say for them. I think it was just because of the whole segment. Paul Heyman was walking backstage waiting for Brock Lesnar. Enzo came out there, mostly still hyped up for some reason, and did his regular routine. And they cheered for him, and he says, I'm not doing so good. and he called out Cass and everything. You know, we're supposed to be the realest guys in the room and stuff. I called you, texted you, I even spoke to your mother, Cass. Where are you? And as Cass came out, we got some boozy. He came out with pretty much a black shirt, no soft logo, and Enzo pretty much says, you know, it hurts and everything, because he says he did show a lot of emotion. They says, you know, I got the biggest mouth sometimes, and it's gonna have to be the first or last. He says, you're my brother. He says, you know, you broke my heart and probably broke my face and everything, but we're not gonna let this bond break. He says, you know, forget wrestling, forget the WWE. We're brothers for life. He says he can go all the way back from, you know, passion he saw in his eyes, where, you know, he woke up in that hospital room from, you know, the Payback pay-per-view, which I was at, where they nearly killed Enzo. And, you know, this is the future. This is our family. He said, we're not going to break that bond, he says. We're not until we become the tag team champions. He says, this is real life. He says, we are brothers. He says, bro, and everything. He showed a lot of emotion out there. I give him that. But as Cass took the microphone, he says, you don't never know when to shut up. And he says, he has to be honest. After he did last week, he's ashamed, he says. And, you know, he runs his mouth, but he says, you know, we are brothers and everything. And he said he was sorry to Enzo for the past 5 weeks. And he says, please accept his apologies. The crowd chanted, no, and no, because I think they knew Enzo can't be this gullible, but he is, but they all chanted no. But, you know, he said he wants to look at the future of his family, he says, and we're not going to throw this away. And Cass said, if you thought we were going to break up, then there's only one word to describe you. And they did the soft thing, and then next thing you know, as they got up the ramp, Cass started jumping Enzo and beat him up and then threw him down. He said, you want Enzo? Here's Enzo, and threw him down the entrance ramp then. So, I'll say Enzo showed emotion. They're still going somewhat good with this. Like I said, I don't know how far they can go with this whole Enzo versus Cass thing and stuff. I don't know how far I can go with this, because I still feel like I know they're gonna make Big Cass a star, and then Enzo, I just don't know. Like, I agree with others, he probably end up in the cruiserweight division if you ask me. So Enzo did what he could to try to help his friendship, but he kind of was a little bit gullible for believing him though, still too. But I'm sure we'll see what happens next week when we probably get maybe a match sooner or later with these two. Sasha Banks, yes, the Gauntlet match, multiple winner in the back in a ball to see what number they were going to come out in. They pretty much talked about Sasha being nominated for a Teen Kids Choice Award, and I know she was at the BET Awards last night, which she was on the BET Live Access show too. So yeah, she participated in the celebrity basketball game. So yeah, I saw Sasha there in the crowd yesterday. She showed at the awards. Seth Rollins went against Kurt Hawkins. Seth won. Bray Wyatt was talking on the screen. Blah, blah, blah. I'm coming to get you. You won't live. You listen to these ignorant people. As the crowd chants JoJo, JoJo to him while he's talking, you will come to a place of no return. And he says this will be Seth's proclamation. He says the truth will come out. You will have it. Then once again, Bray Wyatt in his same old promo, blah, blah, blah. I will lose in the end at the pay-per-view. If not, it'll be some screwy finish, so you can continue this pay-per-view but still lose in the end. That's what I see out of Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman was in the ring, and he talked about Samoa Joe. I'm glad he didn't say like Roman. He said Samoa Joe. And, you know, you want to take cheap shots at Lesnar. You don't want to fight. You want to take cheap shots, he says. And now you're going to get yours. He says, you don't fear Brock Lesnar, but he says the bathroom breaks are over. Everyone's going to be talking this tomorrow. He brought out Brock Lesnar, and as Brock came out and tried to, he came out getting ready to, I guess, fight Joe. Joe attacked him from behind, put him in the coquina clutch, and kept choking him until he turned red. Brock spun around and kept pushing Joe into the video wall 2 times, but Joe kept hitting knees and doing the chokehold on, and turned him really red like a tomato. And Brock never passed out. He never did. He mostly fought him to his knees until people came out and broke him up. It was mostly Brock trying to breathe out there most of the time, but he never really choked him out in a way. Was he almost choked out? Yes, he was, but he turned red. me. Hold on a second. Well, yep, well, but never. Oh, yeah. But it, yeah. Hold on a second. Ah, sorry about that. Like I said though, he choked him out and just put him down. Like I said before, he never choked out Brock Lesnar. Alright? He just had him red until people came out and he was mostly on his knee or two trying to breathe. So he mostly fought out of it. I know somebody I was just talking to, texting him saying that, he didn't really choke out all the way. He just, put him closely out. He didn't really pass him out. Some people think that Brock didn't sell it, but they're doing what they can to get Joe over. And this is probably one of the greater segments tonight was that. So at least they're keeping that going still for this great Balls of Fire, which is still a horrible pay-per-view name. Neville went against Lince Dorado. I haven't seen that guy in so long. Tozawa was out there sitting, and as Neville won the match, Tozawa got out until Titus O'Neil said the match has been finalized for the Titus. I don't even think it's the Titus Worldwide now, not the Titus brand. Either way, this whole segment makes no sense, and I don't think no one cares about this Cruiserweight match, because you see the crowd didn't either, so I don't think a lot of people cared. Charlie Caruso asked Paul Heyman what was going to happen about the whole Samoa Joe thing, and he said that's why the Samoans dislike Joe. And he says, they want to fight in your face. He wants to attack from behind, and want to take out the champ. He says, I'm going to have an ex-champion, I'm going to have this. He says, if Joe wins, you'll have a new champion and stuff. But he says, I'm a promoter. And, Lesnar's back is against the wall and everything. But, we're going to have a fight. He's going to take Joe to Suplex City. And, when Joe was in the trainer's room and they put the smelling salts waking up, he says, dear God, what was it like to fight the beast? Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Which somehow Paul Heyman was able to work that into there and make it sound kind of good. They're doing their best with all these great balls of fire jokes. The women's thing was the main event, surprisingly, the Gauntlet match. As Nia Jax talked to Alexa Bliss about the title shot, and so she's coming after her for the belt and everything. And I know a lot of people are going to say this in the beginning, and once again we go back to the Bayley thing. Bayley was the first person out there, nearly in her hometown, I believe, and somewhere near it. I believe she's not from the LA area, but somewhere near it, going against Nia Jax. And she took out Bayley with a Samoan drop. And people wondered, they really buried Bayley. Okay, listen, I don't know what they think they're going to go with this. I don't know if they're trying to do the whole thing like they did from NXT as a lovable loser type of deal. But it's kind of too late for that now. You've already killed her at that last pay-per-view and do those horrible segments. I don't know what they're doing with Bayley at this point. But even I had to sit there and say, wow, how many times are they going to bury this girl now again? Mickie James comes out there and she loses quick with a Samoan drop. Dana Brooke gets destroyed with a leg drop. Emma comes out and gets destroyed with Samoan drop. And then it was her and Sasha Banks that surprisingly the crowd was somewhat into this match. And Nia Jax is mostly killing Sasha Banks out there. But Sasha Banks did dodge the last Samoan drop. She pretty much had a standing bank statement, pretty much bending all the way, pretty much bending Nia Jax all the way almost to her back with the bank statement in, and pretty much had her tap out then. So it was like a modified version, but she held it so long that Nia Jax tapped out. Kurt Angle then came out and pretty much held up Sasha Banks' hand, and pretty much she's the new #1 contender. At least Sasha's going somewhere again. And as Kurt Angle held her hand up, Alexa Bliss came out, since they're going to have a match now, Great Balls of Fire. Alexa came out, held the title out. Sasha immediately drop kicks her, takes the belt and kicks Alexa Bliss out of the ring, holding up the title, saying she will become the champion again. I don't know why this was the main event. I'm surprised this was even the main event, to be honest, because after what happened with that random women's segment last week, why would you think it was the main event? Because last week I didn't give a crap what the women were doing, because they were just in a random segment. They just had to find a way to get them all on TV. Bailey, I know people are going to say something about, them burying Bailey. At least Nia Jax looked like somewhat of a monster tonight. And Sasha, at least Sasha's back in the title picture, and that in the cruiserweight division. So that's pretty good. So that is a positive out of that. But I don't think this women's thing needs to be the main event. They didn't even hype it up to be the main event. So that was another bad part, because you didn't really think this was the main event. And, if I can go through this whole show, the only things that were really worth watching was the Lesnar and Joe thing, of Joe nearly choking out Lesnar, Strowman and Roman. And if you want to look at the Lavar ball thing, yes, but that was probably the most cringe-worthy segment of the night, and maybe a little funny, but I wouldn't really kind of go back to that. Maybe a little good six-man tag, but it wasn't really a lot to say from here. This was LA. I think they really had to try in LA, but the Lavar ball thing just kind of killed the whole show when you look at it, until Joe and Lesnar came on. But that's my review of the show. So if you want to check out Raw, go right ahead and do what you want or whatever. So hey, you just have to find out and wait and see then about this show. But the Lavar ball thing, wow. Beat that nigga ass. Beat that nigga's ass. That line right there just killed me. I had to start just chuckling after that. And him running around the ring. But I'm out of here. See you guys later. Peace. Live reactions, reviews. Check out my live reactions to Ring of Honor Best in the World 2017 this weekend and a review to it. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace.